As far as financial support for your new creation, real progress isn't indicated by allowing greed to push you ahead of yourself and your creation, whether that greed is in you or in an investor of any type. It isn't necessarily that something that's given a whole bunch of money will grow faster, even in the beginning. Real, long-term, secure progress takes patience and growing a business like you would a small plant, and realizing that if you're going to get apples in the future off that tree, you're going to have to keep giving it fertilizer and love and getting the right environment, and realizing sometimes there might be a storm and you might have to rebuild the thing a little bit or even entirely. Things can get rough. Pouring a bunch of money onto something isn't going to make it produce fruit. It might make it look bigger, but it isn't necessarily going to produce fruit. And if it does produce fruit, it isn't necessarily going to produce fruit people want. And if it does, it's going to be a very rare thing, that you are able to stretch it out of the ground and grow it faster than it's natural. With real progress, your growing creation becomes more predictable. You want to have a business be more predictable, consistent, and dependable. That way, your success rate will have those things wrapped up in it as a part of the jewel that makes it sparkle. It's generating its own power, and it's making more as it goes, and that kind of thing you can count on at the end of the day. If the product is valuable, it's going to get you value. And if it isn't, you need to keep thinking of the product rather than going into debt or allowing somebody else to go into debt and blame you for it over something that was destined to become crippled. Adding to your growing concept exactly what it needs in a very personal way will bring it to that point where it can be determined if it's strong enough to stand on its own, which will in turn bring financial success, or if it isn't yet. If it is, let's take it to the next level. Let's put it in that position. If it's prematurely overinvested in by an investor or even yourself, it might not have a chance to prove itself. And it's good to understand that the big investor who's making a gamble is taking very little risk on his part, given the fact that he will get his money back no matter what. Whether that be through tax write-offs or taking over the company and working it so he gets what he needs to get from it, whether the company has any real success or not. Even if it looks semi-good, he knows what to do with it. He'll put it on TV and sell just enough of them so he gets his money back, or whatever he needs to do. He knows how to play that game. And if it goes big, he owns it. He took your creation and he owns it. You'll get a penny on every $100 if you're lucky. He's excited because it can make him some money, and you're trying to get him excited so that you can make some money. So your thinking process is clouded in this way, purposely by the investor. Investors can cripple you, and they will oftentimes leave you out of that success position as soon as they can. But if you make your product prove itself first, you'll be in the driver's seat and in the strongest position. Ultimately, what it boils down to in the simplest of terms is you want to make something that the people want. And you have to find that out from your product. If the people want it, you can't help but make money. It's just natural. Investors don't care about what you invent. They care about how it will sell. Though we also realize that is a factor, that is not the complete reason why we're here or why you're inventing. We're here to encourage you to continue to invent. What your invention does will be what your invention does. We care about its success as a creation. If all we cared about was money, then we wouldn't give a damn about what you made. We'd care about how much it made us. If we cared about that, eventually the creative process would begin to dwindle because that person would be looking like a nobody compared to money itself, when really the creator and the creation is the value, not the money put behind it. The investor would have nothing to invest in if there wasn't something there. So to make him superior to the creator and the creation is backwards, and it's ridiculous. You have to appreciate the creation and the creator of something. If there were nothing to buy, what good would money do? If there are things to buy, then they are more important than the money. Things have always been valuable before money. People used to trade chicken or corn or whatever they could for other valuable things. When you start to make money more valuable than what's being created, you start to get a lopsided growth and a lot of debt. And that's why everything is riding off of what's owed. At that point, money has become more important than the creative process itself. We at Green to Gold do not like this age-old investor-creator attitude, and if you're with us, we're not going to allow you to end up in that destructive position. If your idea has something, let's see where it can go, and let's be honest about it from our experienced perspective. We're going to stay with you as long as you think you can do something. And even if you don't think you can do something, but you just want to continue to invent, we're going to be right with you. And in that way, you're going to have success no matter what. We're not going to come back and say, hey, we opened up an office and we spent a lot of money on this and now we're going to sue you. That's not going to happen. In bringing it to the business level, we're concerned that the people want what it is that you have. And if that's your goal, then we encourage you to keep improving it until they do.